Hello, everyone. It's Dennis here with Collider Games. I'm also joined by
Josh Weyers
in South Africa, but it
right.
seems like you're in office over there.
You can tell by the skies that I'm not in California. You can tell by the color of the skies.
Yeah. All right. Let's just get into it. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today because there's a lot of gaming news. We had the PS5 showcases. We had the PS5 pre-order fiascos. We have Facebook Connect, which announced Quest 2, which had the pricing and specs, all that stuff. And then we have some Cyberpunk 2077 details. All right, let's start with the Sony PS5 showcase that was on Wednesday, which happened to be also the same day as Facebook Connect. So we're like doubling up. If you haven't checked it out, me and Dorian did videos for both of those. But I want to ask your opinion. Let's start with the PS5 showcase. How did you think it compared to the first one they had earlier this summer?
I mean, I'd say it's equal hype, if not more. You know what I mean? Everyone's excited to see the prices. A couple games that are looking really, really good. We got to see more gameplay and stuff. But I'd say it's about like the same level as the first one. You know what I mean? Like, well, mind you, that the first one did have a lot more hype because of the reveal. The actual console reveal, I think, had more hype there than the price reveal, for instance. And even more so, I wasn't too hyped about the PlayStation Plus collection thing. We'll get into that later. But overall, I mean, I'm more excited for the games and the fact that they're showing us that like this is what it's going to look like on a PS5, except for Final Fantasy 16. But we'll also get into that. But yeah, no. Overall, it was a good event. It was short though. I was expecting it to be a little
45
bit longer.
minutes. 45 minutes compared to almost an hour and a half of the last one. Actually, I think me and Dorian's takeaway, and the feeling I got from most people was that it was a lot better than the first one. And I agree because I feel like being more concentrated on PS5 stuff. Look, the pricing we knew, like pretty much the pricing came out the way we expected, for the disc and non-disc version, $399 for digital, $499 for the disc version. So that was no surprise there. Like you said, we already got the reveal of the console design. I guess for me, I don't really care much about console design, as long as it's not like the size of a refrigerator, I'm okay. So to me, this was a lot better because it was focused on the games. You had the Spider-Man Miles Morales. You got to see a lot more. Instead of just a little teaser, you got to see like story and gameplay footage. You had the Harry Potter RPG finally officially announced. I mean, there's been leaks and rumors and all that stuff, but the Hogwarts Legacy is coming. That one's going to be cross-platform, but the Spider-Man Miles Morales is going to be exclusive to the PS5. Now, Final Fantasy 16 is not exclusive to PS5. It's exclusive to PlayStation, so it's going to be on PS4 and PS5. Some people kind of like got upset because me and Dorian kind of glossed over Final Fantasy 16. I think it's because neither one of us are Final Fantasy fans, not because we don't like the franchise. Just I've never played a Final Fantasy game ever.
I've played every single one, so I'm ready, man. I'm so ready for this one. I'll give you my opinion on it just now.
All right, tell me your opinion on it. What? Because when I first saw it, it had the design of Final Fantasy, but it was set in a more medieval setting, so I was a little confused. I was like, the aesthetic is Final Fantasy in terms of the faces and the combat and all that stuff, but I was like, is this Final Fantasy? Because the setting looks, a little different than what we're used to. But what's your take on it?
Well, I got a couple pros and cons just purely based off of the trailer that we saw. Also, I'm gonna assume that they're going to release it onto PC as well. If they're showing us that that's what it looks like on a PC build, that's going to be a similar build to PS5. And considering how successful Final Fantasy 15 did on PC, I think they're definitely going to be releasing it on PC as well. So it'll be on Sony and PC, you know what I mean? PlayStation and PC. But they'll do the PC version like a year later or something, Like that's probably what they're going to do. I'm very happy with the gameplay. That's the thing that I enjoyed the most about what I saw is the gameplay looked very crisp, like compared to the Final Fantasy 15 gameplay, because that was the first time they kind of went for this like active combat, like almost like hack and slash traditional RPG route rather than like having your turn-based combat. You know what I mean? It was their first time kind of going into that direction, and they've messed around before with a couple of things. And it's like if you look at like the online games, and some of their previous games they've done it, but not so much hack and slash. So now it's like they get a second chance to go back to that combat, and they actually made it so much more crisp. Like the combat's the one thing that I'm most excited about this game. The gameplay combat looks sick. That being said, the story, it seems heavier. Like from what I could see, like in terms of like there was this one scene where this kid watched this. I think it was the prince. He watched some like dude get decapitated in front of him. There was blood everywhere, and I was like, that's like gory for Final Fantasy. Like Final Fantasy's been like has had some heavy topics, but never really gore. You know what I mean? So I was like, which is cool because my issue with Final Fantasy 15, the story was phenomenal, but the characters carried very little weight. Like whenever a main character died, for instance, in Final Fantasy 15, I didn't really feel as a loss because I was like, who is this person? I don't know anything about their backstory, or they didn't really give us enough. And mind you, they fixed that with some updates later on with Final Fantasy 15. But I think that what they did with this one, it seems that they're getting it more like heavy. So you're going to be a lot more invested into the story. Like when something tragic happens in the story, it's going to break you. Like they've been trying for years to try to like profit off of the death of Aerith from Final Fantasy VII way back in the day. You know what I mean? The way that hit fans so hard. They've been trying so hard to get something similar to that. So I think they're definitely going for a heavier approach. That being said, it reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy XIV Online, because it's also kind of this like it's a similar medieval kind of setting, I'd say. Not like that's like the new game is way more medieval, but there's something about the cutscenes that remind me of Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know what it is. It could just be it's something about the animation, like not the graphics, but the actual like movements in the characters, like the animation quality. I was a little disappointed in it, if anything. Like, and the graphics don't look amazing. They look cool, but they don't really. I was expecting more in terms of graphics with the cutscenes we saw. The majority of the cutscenes we saw were like in-game cutscenes, and you could see that there were like actual like CGI cutscenes that look amazing. Obviously, look flawless, but the in-game cutscenes look a lot like the Final Fantasy XIV cutscenes with just like a bit more shine on the armor. So I don't know. I'm excited to play it in terms of combat, but in terms of story, I'm not too sure. It also just trips me out that like your job is you're this guy who has to protect the prince, right? And the prince's name is Joshua. So like that trips me out, man. The entire time I've got to be looking after some kid named Josh. I'm gonna feel like my own babysitter. It's gonna be trippy. But no, I'm looking forward to that. It doesn't look as polished as what I'm want it to be, but I think we're going to see a lot more about this game in the future. But the gameplay looks sick. That's the one thing that it seems like they polished for sure. Most likely, this seems like the kind of game that will be on PS4 as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's PlayStation exclusive. Anytime you saw the PlayStation exclusive, not PS5 exclusive, you know, it's like Halo Infinite is going to be on Xbox One as well as Xbox Series X. They know the installed base, even for a brand new next gen console, is not big enough for them to just sell this on one platform, given the the budget of these things, right? You can't just sell these big franchises on just next gen consoles that only have,
it's like
the installed base is going to be, who knows, like 1/10 the size of what they're at right now, in the fall.
I do have some questions about the game that I'm hoping to be answered soon. It's like towards the end of the trailer, you kind of saw it was showing you the younger guy and then the older guy. And I'm thinking, is that the same person possibly? Like, because I couldn't, like, from the cutscene tell if it was two different people or if it's maybe like you're playing as the guy when he's younger and then you get to play him when he's like older, or maybe they are two completely different people, but they're pivotal. It's so yeah, like I said, yeah, the cutscene, like the non-in-game cutscenes look great. In-game cutscenes, not too happy about them. Combat gameplay, very happy about that. And I don't know why I wasn't expecting this, because now that I think about it, it's been a couple years since the last Final Fantasy 15. But yeah, I don't know when we're gonna get this. Like, when do you think that they're gonna release this? Like,
I would assume the end of next year. That's what I would assume.
Yeah, like that would be like pushing it, I think, end of next year. Because also the engine seems very similar to the engine that they used for 15.
Yeah.
Like, very similar,
So I think the biggest thing that they showcased was the Spider-Man Miles Morales stuff. Looked great. you have story details from there about Miles and his mother running for office. You have the Tinker as one of the enemies. The Destiny looking bad guys.
Yeah.
In there. But yeah, Miles Morales, that's the to me, that's the system seller. That's the thing that I think the Xbox Series X is missing right there, is that they don't have anything at launch that's saying, look, you have to buy the system to play this game, and this is what Sony has, which is, and like I said before, to be fair, it's just one. Neither system is like full up on these super exclusive games. So, but yeah, what would you think of Spider-Man Miles Morales?
Dude, it freaking blew me away. The gameplay blew me. Like, first of all, they didn't show us really any web swinging around, because that's kind of them telling us, look, the web swinging is going to be the same as in the previous Spider-Man game. Like, which is cool, because I think that the previous web swinging was perfect. If anything, they're just going to give him like more personalized animations. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the mechanic's going to feel the same. But dude, how dynamic was that combat? Like, it's the Spider-Man combat was fairly dynamic, but this is like next level dynamic, where it like switches the cutscenes, and like that's like the biggest thing that the biggest thing for me that I would take away from that was that it's dynamic, and the fact that like, dude, he's so OP. Like, I was thinking when we get this game, I was assuming we're gonna start from nothing. Got to learn all the powers. Got to like like the whole origin story kind of thing. And maybe there is a bit of that in the game, but I like how they just showed us like, no, you just badass right from the beginning. You got to deal with
invisibility,
right, shock
electricity,
powers.
yeah.
You got to deal with the freaking bridge falling apart, like, and that looked amazing as well. Like he's doing big superhero stuff for a kid. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm excited for it, and the electricity looks so sick. It kind of reminds me of like the effect of the electricity kind of makes me think of what it would be if we had a Flash game as well, if that makes sense. Like, the effects are like very similar to like what I think of what Flash's effects would look like in a game. So, dude, there's so much hype around this game. The gameplay looks so good. And mind you, like, they did show us, they showed us a lot of the combat, but they showed us that one scene of the two guys walking through, and it looks fantastic. But all they're doing is really walking through a market. But they did. I think they showed us that so that they could show us how good the atmosphere is. Like, there was a good. It wasn't an overwhelming sense of atmosphere, but there was atmosphere there. You know what I mean? It was like a livable area, and I like that. Like, they made it more personalized.
Yeah, definitely. So I think this is the one that's really going to get people to pre-order the PS5, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. They showed some Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War footage, gameplay footage. That's also cross-platform. Yeah, it looked really good. Resident Evil Village, Deathloop, PlayStation exclusive. I did not know that. We saw, me and Dorian and Caboose had seen it at the Bethesda Showcase a year and a half ago, and I had assumed that it was cross-platform, but
yeah,
looks like now it's going to be PlayStation exclusive. Okay, let's talk about. Hold on. They did the Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Oddworld, Soulstorm, Five Nights at Freddy, Demon Soul, PlayStation Plus Collection. Basically, their answer to the Xbox Game Pass, which at first I had read conflicting reports about, like, oh no, it's not a subscription thing, it's just a bundle, blah blah blah. And then I think it's been clarified now. It is. They're just adding all these games to their Game Pass like subscription, PlayStation Plus, and so they're adding all these classic games. Unfortunately for me, I bought a lot of these games to play, so it would have been a better deal for me, like, if they had announced this, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year ago, and then I just subscribed to PlayStation Plus and started playing those games instead of buying a lot of them individually. What do you think about PlayStation Plus?
Oh man, I don't care about it. Like,
is it because you already have the games?
Dude, all of those games were already PS Plus games. Like, if you've had PlayStation Plus for the past year or two, not all of them, but the majority of those games you already own. So like, and I know my library is coming with me to the PS5. So, but it's also like, I mean, I'm also not that bothered. Like, I'm like, when I say I don't care, I don't mean I'm hating it. It's just like, for me, it's something that doesn't really matter. Because if you're gonna get the PS5, you're gonna get PS Plus. You have to have PS Plus to play online and all that. You know what I mean? For the most part. So you're gonna get PS Plus anyway. So it's just like a bonus to know that like if you're not like a PS fanboy like me who does have like a freaking 400 game library moving over with them to the PS5, at least then you get to have these games moving over with you. Now, the PS5, I'm going to assume upscales the game slightly, but they're not going to be like, completely new renditions of the games.
They're not remastered versions. They're taking the PS4 games and allowing you to play them on the PS5, but it's
literally there for people who don't have a library on PS4. Like, for instance, like this is a great way to like snag some people from Xbox, like you said, like if they're more invested, or even like new gamers or like younger kids, like at least they'll have a library to play with, rather than just like one or two games.
Like I said, it would have been great for me a year ago before I bought my PS4, because then I bought, Uncharted, God of War, Last of Us Remastered. They have Detroit, Arkham Knight, Days Gone, God of War, which I think I'm almost finished. I'm probably like an 80-90% the way through. Fallout 4 is going to be on there as well. Look, it sounds like a good deal, especially if you haven't played these games. It's not quite as good a deal as the Xbox Game Pass, because with the Game Pass, they're doing first party day one. Like Gears 5 was day
10
one.
days early, dude. Like you get it 10 days early with Xbox Game Pass.
Because they're really pushing that. Halo Infinite is going to be on day one. So, Avowed, all these games are going to come out, on day one for Game Pass. So you're not really having to buy them and just be subscribed, which is a great deal. So this is kind of their answer, and it's good. It's just not as good as the Xbox. But then again,
they're not losing anything if you think about it. Like they're not really losing anything by giving this out as like a deal. And also, like, it's for most people, they're not gonna. It's not out of the way. Like you're not gonna be buying the PS Plus just for this. You're going to have PS Plus. Like if you're an online gamer, you're going to have PS Plus, and then you'll just have this with you. So it's just a nice little bonus if you don't have it.
Yeah. All right. The biggest thing for me, even though all we saw was like a few seconds of teaser, was the God of War Ragnarok teaser, which basically was like, look, we're going to get a sequel. I've never, before the God of War, the latest God of War game that I'm playing right now, I've never played God of War game before. I'm loving this version. I don't know how the other ones were before. So I'm excited, as someone who's like kind of new to the franchise. I'm excited and seeing just like, oh, it's a teaser to 2021. I'm lucky because I'm playing the game now, so when I finish it, I'm only waiting, let's say, a year for the new one to come out versus other people who finished the game in 2018. So it'll be 3 years since they finished God of War, so they're having to wait a little bit longer. But for me, it's gonna be a nice, smooth transition, right in, just like I did with Last of Us 1 to 2. Finished Last of Us 1 maybe a month before 2, and then rolled right into 2.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was coming because they signed a contract for 3 games, and they said that they have enough lore for 6 games. So if they do well with the 3 games, they've got enough lore and story for 6 whole games, they said, in essence, which is fantastic. But I don't know. I assumed years ago, like, that like when we hear about the next God of War game, I assumed we would have like had a bit more than like a logo teaser. Like it made me think of like Bethesda with Elder Scrolls 6. It's like, why show us something that we're only going to get like 10 years from now?
They just want you to know, because they want you to buy that PS5 pre-order it, because
exactly,
like, oh, even if the game's not out now, I need to get a PS5 now so that I can be ready for this. I mean, it's the promise of new things, exclusive things. That's why people still keep getting upset at me for talking about Xbox and what they're missing and why I'm disappointed with them, even though I'm totally on Team Xbox. So another thing is, what do you think about the God of War lead level designer? He joined the Xbox new quadruple A studio, the Initiative. So how do you think that's going to affect God of War?
I think the heart and soul of that game was from the director. Like, they didn't nab the director, did they?
No, it's the lead level designer.
Yeah, no, I think that look, the level design in God of War is good, but it's by I mean I'd go as far as to say that it is like, well, it's good, but it's not like amazing. The game is amazing because of the combat, the story, and there are some I don't know, like I wouldn't say that the God of War game had like it wasn't mind-blowing level design. It was just good level design. I think that that's fairly easy to replace. I'm not too bothered about that. If they nabbed the director, I'd be crying. I'd honestly be crying if they managed to get the director. But going back to what you said a bit earlier on, because I've played every other God of War, but except for Ascension, which was some kind of weird multiplayer God of War thing that they did after God of War 3. But God of War 3 was my favorite game of all time, and at least in terms of like a action, like a hack and slash game, until God of War came out. Like they've smashed like the previous games. The last God of War game, Dennis, was better than any God of War game, than the entire like first trilogy put together. And I know some people might hate me for saying that, but it really is, in terms of just like story and just like acting, like actual like you get way more emotion from it, you know.
Yeah, being someone who's been mostly Xbox, my whole gaming life, I would see God of War, but I'll be honest with you, I never really got interested in it until the latest one, because the other ones, it looked cool, the character looked cool, the hack and slash and using the was it the Blades of Chaos or whatever?
Yeah.
Looked interesting, but I never was like that compelled to play it until I saw the most recent one, where it's like, oh, this is very cinematic. It looks like they're going on a journey. You know, there seemed to be something else there that I was looking for.
Yeah. I mean, like the older games themselves were just, if like the biggest difference between the older games and this game is the camera angle. The older games had more of a, I wouldn't say bird's eye view, but it's kind of like a somewhere in between third person and bird's eye view, so that you can, because when you're doing these intense like spinning around with your blades and chains, you need that view. But yeah, I'm stoked for this. I think that's cool. That oddly enough is not the thing that I'm most excited about from the PlayStation event that we watched.
What
like
is?
The thing that excited me the most was the Demon Souls remake. It looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, it looked
dude.
pretty cool.
Like it looks I mind you, I played the original, so it obviously looks worlds different. You know what I mean? The original came out what, like 10, 11 years ago or more. It was so it looks great, dude. And it's just like it's a game that is that game has like solidified itself in gaming history now, because most game mechanics are based off of that game mechanic. You know what I mean? Like most games now have a Souls-like approach to it because of that game. So Demon Souls, very excited about that. It looked crisp. And then Oddworld Soulstorm, I was also excited for that, because it's more 3D, but at the same time they still kept it as like a side scroller. You know what I mean? And I used to play the hell out of Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, when I was younger. It was one of my favorite games. And then one of the things that I'm excited about, but it's like I'm kind of upset because I just recently finished Devil May Cry 5, and I so much would have rather wanted to play it on the PS5, because it just the graphics don't look better, but it looks crisper. You know what I mean? Like it just looks sharper and crisper. The effects specifically, like the effects look so much better. It just, yeah. So the Ultimate Edition looks sick, but it's like I'm not gonna pay money for the game again just to see it like on better graphics. You know what I mean? Or like what looking sharper. But yeah, those are the things that like excited me the most, I think. And yeah, well, Spider-Man Miles Morales was my biggest thing that I was excited about. There was something else I'm excited about, which I'm sure we're going to talk about just now, because it got a lot of people talking, man. It got a lot of and it got a lot of eyes from non-gamers as well, you know, which was the Harry Potter game.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I think we spoke about it like at the end of last year sometime. We like saw some leaks, so we knew that they were hiring, and we knew that they were working on like a AAA game. And now I completely forgot about that. And then this trailer dropped, and it was mind blowing, dude. It looks so sick. Like, and I like Harry Potter. I'm not like a Harry Potter fanatic, but I enjoyed the movies. You know, read a couple of the books. Not a fan of the author. Most people aren't, but we'll move past that. Dude, I actually love the games, like the Sorcerer's Stone game, like the movie games back in the day were sick. Like the first 2 or 3 Harry Potter games. I love them. I love just being able to walk around Hogwarts as a student. And now I get to do it in like a AAA type game, and it looks amazing. And I think it's going to get a lot of new people to gaming because that's like a whole that's a huge global fan base. And the amount of people I saw that shared that trailer that aren't gamers that are looking forward to like playing it or buying a console and playing it. So that's also just a good move. But do you think it's going to be an exclusive? I don't remember seeing at the end if it was an exclusive or not because it's such huge IP. It can't be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think so either. I didn't see an exclusive thing. I think it's cross-platform. But if you get to debut these trailers, they help your brand more. Like remember last year's E3, the last one that actually happened because this year's got canceled. They debuted the Cyberpunk 2077, trailer, and they had Keanu Reeves come out.
And they debuted, what was it, Godfall, which is cross-platform as well. But once again, helped the image, yeah.
Yeah, so, it's one of those things where even if it's not, it just helps, especially you're talking about the casual fans, right? The people who, let's say, never don't really play video games, but they're Harry Potter fans. And they see, Harry Potter, they just announced at the PS5 Showcase. Oh, I better get a PS5. You know what I mean? Like, that's just their initial reaction. They're not thinking, oh, is this for Xbox or is this for PC? Blah, blah, blah. Should I get that instead? They're like, no, I saw it on the PS5 Showcase. I'm going to get that one. So it always helps in that regard.
And I think that's the one thing that this game is going to do is bring in new gamers and new fresh gamers. They'll, like you said, most of them are going to think that it's going to be on the PS. They're going to think it's a PlayStation exclusive just because they saw it here,
Yeah.
And dude, I'm just excited for the game and the sheer because it's one of those things where it's such a vast world where I don't even mind if it becomes like a game as a service thing where they like give us like sweet DLCs like every now and then. I wouldn't even mind because it's such an expansive universe. You know what I mean? You can just keep adding on and keep building onto the story. It's about time. Like everyone knew for years that this is a smart financial choice. It just takes the right studio and a lot of money to be able to do it. And here we are. It's finally happening. Like I didn't think that it was gonna happen like anytime soon. You know what I mean? Like I thought like still it's gonna be years down the line. Once they completely like wring whatever they can out of the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Well, that I think that's the problem. I think Fantastic Beasts is not doing well, and therefore they're like, oh, we better get something that's more related to what people like. Because I'll be frank, it's like the first Fantastic Beast I thought was a bit boring, and then the second one I like watched a little bit of it I think, and it just to me they were just trying to sell it on the world of Harry Potter versus actual creating like the story of it and the characters and whatnot. So I'm more interested. Like I mentioned in the video with Dorian, is like I like the Harry Potter movies, but I'm not what you call a Harry Potter fan. Like I've never read the books. I've never been to the Hogwarts, even though I live near Universal Studios that has the Hogwarts thing at their theme park. If I was there, I'd go and check it out. Cool, but I don't know anything about Harry Potter other than what I've seen in the movies. This game interests me because it's an action RPG. I'm all about building your own character, getting, let's say, your own. Like, I'll tell you right now, I don't know any of the freaking wands from Harry Potter. I don't know what the hell they do or what's so special about them.
It's just a wand. Your wand chooses you or something like that.
Yeah, whatever. Or even the houses. I don't even know, like, whatever. Like, my joke is always like, like, why are all the evil people going to Slytherin? Why do they have an evil house? I'm sure in the books they explain it a lot better of why they're
smarter. Slytherins are supposed to be like sharper or conniving or whatever. Cunning. Yeah. Sorry, that's it. Cunning.
Yeah, I don't know why they have that house there. It's like it's like brand you as the evil enemies. Anyways, but in a game like this, I would be much more interested, right? Because it's part of the game in the world. It's like, oh, okay, this is this and this. I'll probably learn more about the Harry Potter universe out of this game than I ever would watching the movies.
Dude, and the creatures look sick. Like I'm most excited about student life. Live like in Hogwarts. That's the most excited about. And obviously they showed a lot that like it looks like it's not happening in Hogwarts. Like whatever the big mystery or whatever the big thing that's happening, it looks like it takes place outside of Hogwarts for the most part. But I'm excited to student life. I can't wait for Quidditch. They better nail Quidditch because whenever there's a Quidditch game, dude, I love it. Like I think there used to be like a Quidditch game that was just Quidditch released in like the late 2000s or something. And I love that game. So I can't wait for some Quidditch because they're gonna put it in this game. And then just the freaking monsters, like you get like all the fantastic beasts, if you will. Like they look great. You get to tame them. You get to interact with them. You get to have these truly magical moments. I think it's just gonna be a 100%.
Yeah, but, it's just funny for me. I'm going to be just so much more interested in that universe from the game than I am from the movie. Like I said, I enjoy the movies. Some of them I enjoy quite a bit. Prisoner of Azkaban, I think is really good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It seems like that's the most similar movie to relate to this game. A lot of people are relating it to the Prisoner of Azkaban, like in terms of that darkness, the tone, like the color, the tone, like the film grain, if you will, which I don't know if you can use that phrase in video games, but yeah, people are comparing it to that. And I think it just off of the name, it sounds like it's a kind of like a prequel, or like it's set way before any of the Harry Potter stuff, or like even before, like the whole what I think they're based in the 50s or 60s in the Fantastic Beasts series. Like it seems like it's even way before that kind of stuff, which is
I think it's supposed to be like 100 years or something like that.
Yeah, like the starts of it. So that's sick. But moving on real quick, do you want to know like I just want to mention it because obviously they showed us the price, which was exactly what we thought it was going to be. Like we all called it. It cost it cost like $470 something for them to produce it. I knew it was going to be $500. Here's what I didn't know, Dennis, is that import costs in South Africa are ridiculous. So guess how much it's going to cost me to get the disc PS5 in dollars?
$800.
Close. I got the exact number here. It's $735.
Yeah, that's a ton of. I mean, $500.
That's a lot of money, dude.
500's already pushing it, man. Like, I mean, let's get into it. Let's get into a big topic today related to this showcase. Is they said, okay, the pre-orders are going to be live. Pre-orders went live. It was mad chaos. People couldn't get them. People were putting them, like, going to, like, Best Buy, Walmart, all that stuff, putting them in their cart, but then not being able to order it because by the time they put it in their cart and ordered, it was already gone. Like, within seconds, these things were sold out. I didn't even bother. I'm just not... When it comes to pre-order stuff, the only times I actually really go crazy about that stuff is if it's for, like, a concert ticket or whatever, because it's like I'm trying to get a better seat. I don't get a better PS5 if I pre-order it later. I know some people have to have it on day one.
And you're not missing out on it. You know, you got to pre-order a ticket for like a fight or a movie. Otherwise you miss it. You're not missing the PS5. There'll be more, you know?
There'll be more. And, you know, I expect them to fill, you know, I don't. And like I said, you know, and this goes for Xbox as well. Xbox, PS5, both the same. There isn't enough compelling stuff for me to be like, I have to have it on day one. I mean, like I said, Spider-Man Miles Morales, that's the one, right? That's out of all the games for both consoles in the next gen that we know are going to be available on day one launch, it's the only real exclusive that's a system seller, because everything else that's going to be available day one is like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm interested in that game, but it's also going to be on Xbox One and PS4. You know what I mean? Like, so I guess for me, like, getting the better graphics, we've gotten to the point where graphics are already really good. Like, I'm playing God of War, and that game is like, what, great, 2 years old, and it looks great. You know, I just played Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, and those look fantastic as well. You know, it's like, yes, the graphics can be better. This next generation will prove that, and probably prove it later on, you know, probably mid-cycle. But I'm just not... I guess the graphics aren't at the point where, like, oh my God, I have to, you know...
Yeah.
I've got to play this thing. So, anyways, what's your whole spin on the pre-order debacle? Because Xbox came out with, like, their own, like, plan for theirs, and they were like, I guess, are supposedly handling it a lot better because they actually have, like, pre-order times instead of mad scrambles and whatnot. But at the same time, the PS5 is more widely sought after than the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, well, in reference to the Series S, while we're at it, because they asked the PS5 boss about that, and he says that from his experience, low spec consoles at a low price haven't produced pleasing results. Just thought that would be worth mentioning real quick. With regards to, especially with where I'm living right now, like the fact that I have to pay like $735 just for the disc version. I'm just gonna get the freaking 3070, bro. Give me that. Give me the RTX 3080 or 3070. Like, it's gonna work out cheaper for me. I've already got like the RAM, the motherboard. Like, I got everything else good to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got the 2060, but like, shit, for the price of the 3070, why not upgrade? You know what I mean? And most of the games I want to play will eventually be on PC. But more than that, I actually decided this a while ago because the hype around it, even like with this big price, I wanted to get it at launch. And mind you, even with that price being a lot higher here in South Africa, pre-orders were sold out within a day also. Except for some place called Take-A-Lot, which is like, I love Take-A-Lot, but they're literally like an off-brand Amazon. That's the best way I can explain it. So I don't really know how they haven't like sold out of pre-orders or anything like that. Maybe their system is faulty. Not too sure. But yeah, dude, it's sold out in South Africa already for pre-orders. So even with the pandemic and people not doing well, clearly there are still tons of people out there that are more than happy to drop in this country $735 on a PlayStation 5. You know.
Yeah.
But my main reason, like, well, it's not my main reason is the price, but my second reason to kind of reinforce my main reason is that usually from having bought every single PlayStation from launch, except for the original PlayStation, but every other PlayStation I've had since launch. And from my experience, the initial release models in the longer run, tend to have cooling issues or like fan issues, you know what I mean? And it just gets really loud. So I'm more than happy to wait till like mid-year next year to get like the second run of like productions. Not necessarily like the slim version or whatever, but just like the second run of production where they're not so in demand, so they don't have to like cut corners, or for example, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm more looking forward to like the second wave of production. Like, that's when I would rather go and buy it personally.
I mean, that's probably why the Xbox Series X, you see, it's like has the giant like vents on top, and it's so big to space things out. I mean, from what we've read, the Xbox Series X is the most powerful console of the next generation. That doesn't mean it's the better console. It doesn't mean it's going to be the most successful. I'm just saying in terms of pure specs, it's the most powerful one. And then, you know, they made the console kind of that size. And when you're talking about the Xbox Series S, it's true. I think it's true in the sense of real gamers and hardcore gamers, they're not going to buy the Xbox Series S, right? But for families or budget conscious people, especially with the pandemic, I feel like also on a side note, a lot of people are out of work, a lot of people are part-time work, and a lot of people, you know, money is tight for a lot of people, and you're saying people are still buying stuff. I'm telling you, we haven't felt the full effect of the economy being hit yet. We're still in the early stages. I'm telling you, 6 months from now, that's when you're gonna be like, oh damn, like that's when
you're feeling it.
Yeah, people are really gonna start feeling it. So I think people are throwing this stuff on their credit card, thinking, hey, things will get better, blah blah blah. But I feel like 6 months from now, it's not gonna be. You know, I remember the last time we had a recession with all the big banks.
2007, 2008.
Yeah.
The housing crisis. I remember that.
Yeah, that thing lasted like
3-4 years. At least, I mean, it was bad for at least 3-4 years that I can remember. Even here in South Africa.
Yeah, so I feel like the S is definitely for budget conscious, and then families, and then people that are like, okay, or as a secondary console. If let's say you buy a PS5 disc version and you still want an Xbox, you buy the S and just say, okay, I can play the Xbox games on there. You know,
and get the so that's a smart choice. Do you know what I think the Xbox Series S's biggest competitor is going to be? I'm gonna let you guess. What do you think I'm about to say? Because it's
Uh,
the same price, and we just found
Quest
out
2.
it's the same price, dude. So I'm not gonna lie, even like from a family perspective, it's like
Uh-huh.
just like I would rather get a Quest 2 than a Series S. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Well, let's move on to that. That's our next big
Great
subject.
segue.
Facebook Connect happened on Wednesday, the same day. It happened in the morning. PlayStation, the PS5 announced showcase was in the afternoon. Facebook Connect, they talked about a lot of different stuff. I mean, some stuff the average consumer, doesn't really care about, because they talked about Project Aria with the AR glasses, the partnership with Ray-Ban. They talked about a lot of business applications. They talked about consumer to consumer, or business to business stuff. But they did talk about games. They announced the Quest 2. Not a very well kept secret. First of all, there was
It
leaks
got
on the
leaked.
weight look.
Yeah.
The white, it was white, just like we thought. The price was what we thought, $299, which I think is the biggest part, the biggest deal of this. I mean, obviously the specs are better. It's a Snapdragon XR2 chipset instead of the Snapdragon 835, which is supposed to be about twice as powerful. They have a higher resolution screen. They're doing a single panel instead of dual panels. So they're going to be 1832 by 1920 instead of 1440 by 1600. And it's also capable of 90 hertz instead of 72 hertz. A lot of this stuff is not going to really affect the games that you have now unless the developers decide to have an update patch, for higher resolution, higher frame rates. But the pricing is the big deal, the $299, because that is that's when you get into consumer pricing, where it's like you're not a gamer, but you'll buy it for $299. What do you think?
Dude, like it makes sense why they completely discontinued the Quest, because it's like, why even have that on the shelves if this is around? You know what I mean? It's just a complete win for them. My real question is, and we'll get back to the Quest 2 itself and the specs in a second, but do you think, because the entire trailer got leaked like days before the event,
Yeah.
do you think that Facebook leaked it themselves knowing that the Sony event was on the same day? It's
I
a
don't
possibility.
think so. I don't think so, but I do think that maybe the leaks beforehand, about the rumors about the pricing, and plus the design and the look and feel of it. It's supposed to be a little bit lighter. I'll tell you right now, I pre-ordered one.
Like 70 grams lighter, yeah.
I pre-ordered one. I have the first Quest. I pre-ordered the second one. The only problem for me is now that this is $299, the value of my Quest 1 has dropped significantly.
That's true. You can't even selling it is, you have to price it pretty damn low.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to sell it for less than 200, where before I probably could have got close to 300 for it. I mean, I just bought the thing in, I think, June. Yeah, June or July. And it's a $400 unit, but now I'm competing against a Quest 2, which is $299. So I'm really only going to be able to sell this thing probably between like 175 to 200 $200.
Yeah.
So.
I will say this. I'm definitely going to get myself a Quest 2 before I get a PS5. You know what I mean? Like, realistically, it's difficult in terms of, hopefully they did a better run this time, but it's actually really difficult to get VR headsets in South Africa besides the PSVR. For some reason, it's like really tricky to get them because a lot of people aren't willing to import them into the country because there's not a high enough demand for it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of tricky unless you're able to order it through Amazon or something, which Amazon does deliver out here, but they ship from the UK to here. So it's like, I'm definitely going to get that before I get a PS5. I see that The Verge gave it an 8 out of 10. Oddly enough, the thing that I've heard, the thing I heard the most about this, or like the thing that's been getting the best, like, not really reviews, but like everyone's mentioning it, is this better strap, which you do have to pay extra if you want the better strap.
I pre-order. So basically,
Yeah.
you're paying the same thing. You're paying $399, which was the price of the original Quest. You're not really, Yeah, I pre-ordered it. I got the strap with the battery and it comes with a carrying case, which I don't really need. So I got to decide whether I'm going to keep my old carrying case or use this new one. and then sell the other one, or sell it with my old Quest or whatever.
That's probably a better decision.
But the strap, I got the one with the battery. Not so much. The battery's cool, adding, because right now the Quest, and I'm assuming the Quest 2 is about 2 hours of gameplay time. I don't really exceed that in one sitting. In one sitting anyway, so that's not as big a deal for me. But I think the extra weight with the battery actually helps out. And you can't buy, it's weird, you can't buy the strap with the battery separate from the bundle that comes with the case as well. So the strap, it's called the Elite strap, is $49. That's without the battery. It's just a strap. And then the bundle that comes with the battery, the Elite strap, and the case is $129. So essentially you're paying $80 extra for the battery in the strap and then the case itself. I mean, the case is usually, if you look online, it's about $30. So adding the battery, it's adding like $50 to the price. So
yeah, but everyone's saying the strap's worth it. They're saying the strap is worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're
saying they're saying is the strap that comes with the Quest 2 is less comfortable than the strap that comes with the Quest 1.
Oh wow!
So it's like, so you're going down. You're downgrading
somewhere, Dennis.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So you're downgrading in comfort. So you gotta pay the extra whatever. Let's say $50. Let's say you don't have to get the battery with the case or whatever. So you gotta. So essentially, to me, the new pricing is really $350 versus $299 because you want to get that experience. But they're saying with the new strap, the upgraded strap, it's a more comfortable experience than the Quest 1. So you are getting an upgraded experience, but at extra cost. So I just feel like, okay, I might as well get it. I mean, when you are doing VR, comfort is like of the utmost importance because it is a heavy thing and it weighs on you. And so anything that to kind of mitigate that, I think, is beneficial, even if it comes at a cost.
Yeah, which for me is why I think about the weight. Like I'm looking at the stats now, it's only about 70 grams less than the Quest. But I think that's like the perfect little amount because that was my only issue with the Quest was that it was a little front heavy. But besides the fact that it's a little front heavy, like it was a great system. So I think that shaving off that 70 grams you're gonna feel that difference. You're not gonna feel like you're tilting forward too much.
Well, you're gonna also, if you get the strap, you can counterbalance it.
Exactly. Yeah. Somewhat. Yes, that's true. Yeah, and I see that they have same refresh rate as the Quest, 72 hertz, but they said that they got 90 hertz to come or something like that. So I guess they're working on a better refresh rate. And then here's where I think that was actually a good choice was that they're obviously releasing the 64 gigabyte edition, which is the one we're talking about price wise. But then if you want a bigger one with bigger space, you can get yourself one with the 256 gigabytes. Mm-hmm. When you look at the original Quest, it was like your choices were either a 64 gig or a 128 gig. Now, the people who are willing to spend the extra money for like bigger space, chances are they're willing to spend even more to like get more space, if you know what I mean. So I think it was kind of like a better choice for them to be like, here's the 64 gig version for the people who just want to like, get into it, try out a couple of the things. And then here's the 256 gigabyte version for the people who really want to take it seriously, or more seriously, if you will.
Yeah, I got the 64 gig version. Most games literally are like 1 to 2 gigs in size. So obviously the system takes up. It's whether you want to do other stuff on there, like watch movies and videos, but a lot of stuff is streaming too. So for me, 64 hasn't been that big of an issue for my Quest. I don't have a ton of games, so maybe if you like, you want a huge library that's always on there, then 256 is worth it. For me personally, at this point, it's like, and also when you delete games, you still have them. You're still you can download them later and play. So it's not that big a deal for me.
I wonder how big that Medal of Honor game is going to be on VR.
I don't know, but it's going to be on PC anyways. I mean, that's the thing. Sure, is it's not it's you're only playing. And let's talk about the games now. So you have
hold up real quick before you get into that, because so if you're using the TP link, the storage space doesn't really matter, does it? If you're using the link cable. Exactly.
Because it's all on your PC.
Yeah, so like if you do want to play, if you're gonna play higher end games, you're gonna have to use a PC anyway. So may as well just get the 64 gig. I think
Yeah.
because all the other games that you're gonna be playing wirelessly, running on the Quest itself, most of them are small. Like at least the ones that you're gonna be playing the most that are like addictive, like Beat Saber or Super Hot, for instance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Those
they're
are like one
relatively
point
small.
something gigs.
Exactly. Yeah.
So remember, the Quest cannot handle a lot of high res textures.
Yeah. You're not gonna be playing Half-Life Alex, that's for sure.
No, no. I mean, with the Quest 2, you can do slightly higher texture graphics, which is interesting. Because let's talk about this. Some of the games, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which they announced a while ago. From the same guy, same people, ILM X Lab that did both Vader Immortal and also the Shadows of the Empire Void VR experience. They're coming out with the Star Wars Galaxy Edge, and I wrongly, when I saw the trailer and I talked about it with Dorian at first, I was like, oh, that must be. I thought they were trying to trick us, and they were showing like the PC version, and then because the graphics look pretty good. And now when I come to think about it, because it said exclusive for Quest, I'm thinking those graphics actually are the Quest 2 graphics, because they look too good for Quest 1. I'll be honest with you. Quest 1, I don't believe can handle that, that many textures and that many. Like if you see C3PO or R2D2 in there, it's like they look really good in especially for a VR game. So I think they're using Quest 2 footage for that particular trailer. But all in all, I enjoyed Vader Immortal, so I will get Galaxy's Edge when that comes out, which I think is going to be in December this year.
I haven't heard much about that. Is that more of an experience, or is that like a game, like an actual game?
So Vader Immortal, and even like the Void, Shadows Empire, they're more game/experiences.
Yeah.
You're not freely moving around. You're moving to designated areas, and that's how also a way that they're keeping the graphics. Like if you play any games like I do, like I like a lot of these kind of puzzle mystery adventure games, like Red Matter, The Room, or is it Room or The Room?
You're gonna love Myst then, dude. Myst coming to VR you're gonna love.
Yeah,
that, bro.
yeah. So they're able to optimize the graphics a lot more because you're not free roaming a bunch of different areas. You're locked into these specific locations, and I think that's Galaxy's Edge is going to be like that, where it's like, okay, you move when they let you move, type of thing. But then you experience it's a half game, half experience type of thing. So, did you play Vader Immortal at all?
I did. I actually, that's probably the best way of describing it, is that it is like a game and an experience, because it kind of like you don't. I mainly, for the most part though, I mainly just played in the Jedi training room, if you will. Where you're there doing like the Luke Skywalker training, deflecting the lasers. I spent hours doing that. I don't know why. I thought it was so therapeutic. Oddly enough, I was just like, I don't know, I zone out while doing it. The game looked great, but I see what you mean, where it's like, it's very, I mean, I guess it's quite linear in that sense. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
there's a certain experience that they want you to show. And with that, you're able to give a better, like I wouldn't say you can give a better experience. It's just that it's easier to give a better experience that way. You don't have to worry so much about creating big open world settings that people can walk around and they can look for like glitches and stuff. So it's gonna. I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen it, but if you're comparing it to Vader Immortal, then it can only do good, because Vader Immortal was great. I only played the first episode, or like the first half of the first episode, but it was great.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. Big news, no footage, but the Ubisoft that Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell are coming to VR, and these are not. They're not porting something over. It's like they're built from the ground up. So these games/experiences are going to be made for VR, though they didn't say specifically Quest. I have a feeling they're going to be PC VR games that you can play on Quest via the link
Splinter
cable.
Cell has to be, dude. There's
like,
no
I
way
can't imagine the
like,
graphics.
There's no way. There's no way they're going to do some like small Splinter Cell game just for the Quest. It's going to be like a Half-Life Alyx level graphic thing, you know what I mean? Or Medal of Honor type of level. Here, the Assassin's Creed thing, I'm actually not so excited about that, because in my head, they could prove me wrong amazingly. Like, they have everything. They could easily prove me wrong. But I feel like it's just going to be a climbing simulator, which could also be quite cool. But for the most part, I just see Assassin's Creed VR being a lot of climbing. Just
They already got a climbing simulator with the Climb and the Climb 2, which they just announced.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that. I've seen some
played
hilarious footage of people taking it seriously with it.
And I'm deathly afraid of heights, but I played it. It's quite an experience.
That is also why I'm not looking forward to Assassin's Creed. I can't do heights, dude. I cannot do heights for the life of me. Like even like I've played other like VR games where you have superpowers and you can fly, and even just flying scares the crap out of me. Like not seeing anything around me, just floating, like, oh, I hate it. Or like you let go of the power that makes you fly and you just start dropping. I can't. Like I suck with heights, dude. It's one of my biggest fears.
So those are two big announcements, but seeing as they have absolutely zero footage, I believe that's going to be a long ways away.
Way off.
Now, Population 1 is something that potentially could be a breakout hit. We don't know yet because this is going to be the first kind of battle royale game in VR, like mimicking the Fortnite, Apex Legends, kind of look like Hyperscape experience, where you can run around with a squad or by yourself, and you do a battle royale with everyone. You can shoot, you can climb, you can fly. What would you think of this game?
Dude, what a cool name for a battle royale. Because there can only be one. Dude, yes. That's such a cool name. Population 1. I love it. No, I'm excited for it. It's we've had other battle royales come to VR before previously. Like people have done like PUBG VR, not actual PUBG VR, but like fan-made VR games. And I remember playing one a couple years ago, and I thought it was great. But once again, the whole dropping in by flying thing, horrifying for me. But other than that, like, I think it's going to be so intense. And it's like, if done correctly, I think it's going to get a lot of people in shape. Like if it's as addictive as any other battle royale game, then I think it can get a lot of people in shape. And then not just that, but they have an opportunity here to kind of, I would say, not really corner the market, but there's no big go-to battle royale game on the VR. You know what I mean? Like as far as I know, there's a couple smaller studio developed ones, but there's no big triple. Yeah. No. So they could try to corner the market with this game, possibly, unless unless Fortnite decides, hey, screw it, we're going from third person to first person in VR,
which is not going to happen. I don't see that happening.
That's also, by the way, we glossed over that. They showed us what the Fortnite is going to be running like on the PS5, and I didn't care because it's literally what it looks like when it runs on my PC. So I was like, whatever.
Yeah. And Fortnite isn't really known for you know what I mean? It's like Minecraft or whatever.
Whenever they update the graphics, it's more the land, the area, like the grass and the trees, and it does look nice, but it's still in that cartoony kind of vein. So I don't know why they even showed it. Like obviously it's going to be available on the console from day one. So is any other free battle royale game.
Yeah. All right. Jurassic Park Aftermath is coming to the Quest. That looks like a Quest exclusive because of the way that the graphics are. I mean, they might have a PC version. I don't know, but it looks like the more cell shaded animation style to it instead of a realistic style. So I have a feeling like they're going to gear that towards the Quest. I'm looking forward to that.
I missed that one. Is that like? That's just that's like that in terms of gameplay. What's that going to be? Is that just more like a scary experience? You have to like kind of like hide from the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
If ever they're like that's that's cool and all, but like I don't know why, but if Jurassic Park was ever going to go to VR, I 100% would have expected it to be like a build your own park situation, which they had with Jurassic Park Evolution, which I loved in terms of like a management game or like, you like a Zoo Tycoon type game. I freaking loved it. Like, I just feel like it would be so much more awesome in VR where you're building your park and then you get to go tour your park, like that would be really cool. Maybe in the future, who knows?
Yeah. Jurassic World Aftermath. No, it's definitely more of a, story based action horror type of game.
It's like cell shaded. So I'm looking forward to that. That could do well on the system.
Yeah. Beat Saber multiplayer was announced, basically the missing feature that people really, really want to compete against other people live instead of just by score and leaderboard. Also, they announced, and remember when you talked about like Harry Potter being the game to get non-gamers to buy systems and play video games?
Yeah.
BTS, they're getting BTS music into
Oh
Beat
wow.
Saber. So
That's
there's going to be a
amazing.
ton of BTS fans that are going to be like buying Quests and buying Beat Saber so they can play.
That's a huge market, dude,
Yeah.
honestly. And it's like it's sad that you don't really look, obviously you get Beat Saber on PC, you can mod the crap out of it, put whatever songs you want on there, whether they support it or not, I'm not they probably don't, but obviously the majority of people are going to do that. They're going to put their own music on Beat Saber if they want to. They're going to be playing with mods. I just really hope that Beat Saber gets to a point where it does have mod support. Not for music, but more so for like when they do like the dual bladed kind of stuff and like the Sith dual blade, like the Darth Maul kind of thing, and just for like other features like that. Or I think it would be cool if they added mod support in the future. But yeah, multiplayer. It's dude, way to take one of the best VR games and just once again it's like solidify it in one of those top spots. You know what I mean? Like people aren't going to stop playing that game anytime soon, especially
There's a
now that they've got
reason why Facebook/Oculus bought that company,
hmm
because they're like, oh, we want exclusive, and also it's the perfect match because Beat Saber, it's made for, even though I think they made it before the Quest came out, it's made for the Quest, the free range
yeah.
movement of the Quest. With the now they're gonna have the 360 movement in there, so it's like, yeah, it was kind of just a perfect match for those two companies. Medal of Honor coming out December 11th. We finally get a release date. That's also a PC VR game. You'll be able to play on your Quest through Link. Another side note too is the Rift S and the Rift are like next year's, like they're gonna end of life it next
Mm.
year. They basically in the actual uh conference, they were like, oh, by the way, if you get the Quest 2 and with the Link, the resolution's even higher than the Rift S. Basically shitting on the Rift S,
Uh,
like don't buy this thing. They're telling people do not buy the Rift S. Like there's no reason to have the. When they announced that Link back in last Oculus Connect, I was like, they basically killed off the Rift S. Like
yeah.
they're like, you don't need to buy the Rift S anymore. Just get the Quest,
I
which
think
I
you literally said that when it happened.
yeah.
You literally said that. Yeah, that was pretty much your
Uh,
exact sentence.
Yeah, Mist VR you mentioned, the old
I'm most
school
excited about
game.
that. Honestly, like that's that is out of the entire list. Like I would say that, yeah, that's probably the most. That's I'm most excited for that in terms of VR. I don't know. I played a lot of it when I was younger, and it's just one of those games. There's something like otherworldly about it. I guess it just always had that feel to me, and it clicks. Like why didn't they do this sooner as well? Like it's one of those games where I could see it working on the previous Quest even. You know what I mean?
Hmm. So, all right, that's it for Facebook Connect and Quest 2. Like I said, a pre-ordered one. So hopefully my release, I get it on release day. I don't know. They actually haven't shipped. They haven't sent me the actual delivery date.
Can
And
you
then
talk
after
any
that,
more about this Project Aria thing, by the way? The AR glasses, because
it's
I
it,
just saw the trailer for it. I didn't really see much
it's
about the specs
basically,
or anything.
look, it's way early. Like
Yeah,
they don't even have a prototype yet. It's just basically the concept, and the concept is pretty much the same thing that Google Glass wanted to
yeah,
be, what Microsoft wants to do with HoloLens. Is basically be something. It's more for productivity and for lifestyle, not for gaming. It's sort of like walking around and being able to see the directions. Like visually, not looking at your phone, but visually, like, hey, this is the where to turn, showing like, oh, if you want to get to this place, or oh, this place is having a sale, all that type of stuff. It's
yeah,
very early phases. They basically want something that is one that's not too heavy and also looks kind of fashionable, that people can use to, augment their life and be able to, do all those things. But they're so early phases. The only thing they really announced was like, oh, they're doing a partnership with Ray-Ban so
yeah.
that they can get
At
like
least
the
they'll look
style
good.
down. Yeah. So that's the thing is
I'm a little worried, by the way, about this whole Facebook login thing. Like I know I spoke to you about it previously, where I was like, I'm not worried, But now I'm worried because it's like initially I don't think there's going to be any issues with it. What I'm worried about is further down the line when they like add new features and everyone's like, look at this great feature, and then it's something stupid where it's like anybody on Facebook can see what games I'm playing. I don't want that, you know. I mean, sure,
I'm
that's like a
pretty sure you
function
can turn that off.
Yeah,
I think
for
you can
sure,
turn that
but
off.
yeah, but like I don't know, man.
I don't really care.
I still want the two separate. Like I want a virtual social space, and Facebook is going to give us that. Like,
Well, with
I mean,
Horizons, they showed off some of the kind of things that they're touting with Facebook Horizon, which basically is the social interaction in VR. Whether you want to do like meetings, like meetings with your coworkers or whatever, or interacting like learning new stuff, maybe I don't know, exercising with other people or cooking with other people, or it's basically bringing this VR element to a social group that's not interested in gaming or to supplement gaming.
Dude, you could like do like next level Twitch streams in VR. You know what I mean? Where it's like you can have like almost like a live audience there with you. You could do music. You could do like all sorts of stuff. That would be sick. No, I am looking forward to that. It's gonna be. I think they are gonna have a bit of difficulty pulling people away from VR chat, even though, mind you, VR chat is like very chaotic, unmoderated. But I think that they're gonna have difficulty pulling people away in terms of the customization of VR chat and like the player models. And obviously, the Facebook Horizons is not gonna have that because how are you going to like monitor all those accounts, making sure that no one's got like a sexually explicit model or something? You know what I mean?
Okay. All right, let's move on to last two things quickly. Cyberpunk 2077, Night City Wire Episode 3 came out. I'm actually really enjoying these kind of developer diaries. I don't watch a lot of them from other games, but they make theirs interesting. Maybe because I'm really looking forward to this game. And this one to me is like the best one yet. They had a Night City Gangs trailer. They also had a gameplay trailer. I don't know. Just to me it was the most impressive one so far because they showed off the world. Like they're telling you the world is not like, because kind of visually when you look at it like, oh, everything looks the same, but they're saying that there's different districts and each district is unique and different, and the different gangs. Though they did mention like you can't actually join any of the gangs. They have like but the gangs are all like based on ethnicities. There's like a black gang, a Latino gang, an Asian gang, or whatever.
Oh my god.
But you can't join them, but they're gonna play into your storyline as well. But it's just cool that they have different aesthetics to different parts, and yeah, just the world just seems like living and breathing world that you can go into, and I love that about open world games, and it's why it's like my favorite genre is open world RPG games. As much as I love playing God of War with great story, great graphics, great combat, it's not an open world game, so I miss some of the being able to go into towns and talk to people and getting different items and all that stuff.
The side quests and stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, there is a tiny little bit of open world to God of War where you can go to like other missions, but it's not really
clear, you know what I mean? Once again, going back to the level design, they did a good job considering it's not an open world game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's at most there's like a couple branching paths that you can backtrack to find some loot and come back to. It's not like.
Would you think though of the Night City Wire and the Gangs trailer?
I'm just saying I had to skim through because I didn't have the chance to look at it before the stream. But I do like. I am really glad that they're doing these because literally I'm starting to run out of questions, if that makes sense. Like the first time we ever saw like the trailer, not the announcement, but the time that they actually showed us like a trailer. I think it was last E3 or the E3 before that. I had so many questions, you know what I mean? And usually my curiosity wouldn't be satiated until the game comes out. But now they're slowly answering it. I was so curious, are you going to be able to access those Badlands? And yes, now I know you will. I mean, they told us that in the previous episode already, but I'm just glad they're showing off more of this open world. And like you said, it looks really lived in. You can tell how hard they're working at this game and how much they're working on individuality of just the NPCs. Like it looks like there's a lot of individuality between all the NPCs. And you can tell like for the different districts and stuff, it's kind of like the color changes a bit as well, like the scenery, like some roads are dirtier, some roads are cleaner. You know, the buildings look cleaner or dirtier in certain spots, or more neon lights, less neon lights, for instance. But it does look very lived in, and it looks very sharp. And it kind of like it did give me more hope of the open world. Like some of the things I like about open world games is being able to go do those like stupid things, like get into a bar fight in Red Dead, or go play or do some gambling, or go play tennis in GTA, you know what I mean, or go play some golf in GTA. Like, so it seems like they're gonna have at least some of those experiences as well, which I'm looking forward to. Like, just, you know, to take a break every now and then. Maybe I want to go drinking and go dancing at a club in Cyberpunk 2077, and if I can do that, that's awesome, you know.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this game. It's right up my alley. It looks like a cross between Fallout and Grand Theft Auto, but set in like a cyberpunk world. And you know,
Probably
and
gonna get it. I think I'm gonna get it for PC.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get it for. I know. I looked at this. I looked at the specs because they did just. I think they released the specs just recently. The PC specs. Like, yeah, here's the PC specs. The minimum requirements is gonna be 64-bit Windows 7. Wow, really? Windows 7? Okay. 64-bit Windows 7 or 64-bit Windows 10. DirectX 12, which I got. Intel Core i5 or AMD. I've got that. 8 gigs of RAM. Most people have that. The NVIDIA GTX 780 3GB or the RTX 470. So
yeah, but that's minimum. They got
minimum,
the recommended specs.
Recommended. I've got that too as well, easily. Yeah. I've got the Ryzen 7, I think, in here, which is fantastic, with 16 gigs of RAM. And then I got I got the same as you. I got the 2060, which from what I'm reading is it's more than enough to handle the game, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so sure. I'm definitely going to get it on PC, because I'm not going to, at least, like we said, I'm not going to be getting a PS5 anytime soon to be able to experience this, like the ray tracing and how beautiful this game is going to be. But on PC, I mean, if anything, I might even get myself that 3070 before the end of the year, and then it's going to look great on this It's going to look fantastic. I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Last thing before we go: Disintegration ends multiplayer support after 3 months. This game came out from one of the co-creators of Halo. It was very ambitious, but it just sales-wise and critic-wise and enthusiasm for this game. I played it. It had its like positives, but I think it felt like it just wasn't, one, the concept alone of being able to like do first person and third person at the same time just doesn't lend itself to a controller. You know, that's much more of a PC thing. And I also think that because they were trying to adapt it for a controller, it just didn't feel as smooth as you would want it to be. And but I mean, ending multiplayer support after 3 months is fairly quick.
That's almost unheard of, dude. It's crazy, because it's like one of those, you can't do micromanagement on console. It's the whole reason we don't have RTS games on console. I mean, yes, there are some RTS games, but they're so watered down for console. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, that's the reason we don't have MOBAs on console. We have Smite, but Smite is like a third-person MOBA kind of thing, which is why it works. It's unfortunate, man. It's sad, but it's also one of those things where I kind of saw it happening, because even if you're playing this game on a PC and you're able to like do key bindings and make the gameplay a bit more easier, it just didn't click. The game just didn't click for me. You know what I mean? There was something just off about it that just didn't feel right. I don't know what it is. Like, look great. There were moments that were fun, but it just didn't really click or resonate with me. And I think that was the same for the majority of people. Like, and it's not like it came out at a weird time or anything. It's just, they didn't market it badly either. Like, they could have marketed it better, but everyone who played it had a very subpar experience, you know, and that's just an unfortunate situation. And it's sad to see this happen, man, because you know how these people worked so hard in this game. You know, now they got to drop support after 3 months. It's sad, but it is what it is. You know, it's also, times are tough. You know, they can't afford to keep servers running if no one's on them. You know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's it for this episode. Quickly before we
small things real quick.
Oh, you go ahead.
Very small things. First of all, this is wild, Dennis. The Nintendo Switch is officially launching in Brazil.
What?
Which, yeah, it's officially
How many years
launching.
has it been now?
In 5 years, since
Jesus.
2015, Brazil is officially getting the Nintendo Switch, which blows my mind. I didn't even know that they didn't have it, you know? Um, that was worth mentioning. Oh, this is worth mentioning because this is disappointing because, mind you, they never really confirmed it, but I feel like they did mention it at some point in time last year was the backwards compatibility with PS5, and they've just now answered people saying that PS5 will not be backwards compatible with PS3, PS2, or PS1 games. Maybe digitally, but in terms of the actual discs, no. You know what I mean? Which is what I don't know why, but for some reason in my mind, I could have sworn that they said that they were going to do that. That was one of the things they wanted to have was full backwards compatibility with all the previous generations. I don't know why, like that's in my mind. Maybe I'm just making it up. But they've gone out and they've confirmed that there is no backwards compatibility with PS3, PS2, or PS1. So it sounds like it's only backwards compatible with PS4. Um, oh wow. What does this have to do with Beyond Good and Evil 2? Anyways, this is also Beyond Good and Evil 2. The gameplay is they're gonna show off the gameplay next year. I mean, look, all the things we've seen from Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I'm really excited for, even though we haven't heard much about this in a while, is that all they've showed us is this online. They've just showed us like the sandbox, the world, the universe, and like the fact that it's similar to No Man's Sky, where it's like you actually have like a sun revolving, and like that's the way it casts shadows, and it's like a working atmosphere and all those things. But they never showed us any gameplay, and it seems like they're going to actually be showing off sometime next year. They're going to be showing off gameplay with at least an internal build that offers hours of play. It's just nice to know that they're still working on it because I think one of the head developers left recently or could possibly got poached. I'm not too sure. But yeah, so they are still working on the game. Very excited for that. We're going to see some gameplay next year sometime, which also means that it's probably still years away from us getting the game. And then this is not really gaming related, but TikTok downloads are banned starting this Sunday in the US. So I'm assuming that means that you can still use TikTok if you have it on your phone, but after Sunday, like it will no longer be on the App Store, so you can't download it.
WeChat as well. WeChat as well.
WeChat too, yeah, which is unfortunate because of just the vast amount of people living in America who use WeChat to communicate with their relatives in Asia. You know what I mean? So many people use WeChat. Is huge, dude. You know what I mean? So that's gonna suck. But who knows? They might overturn this because I know that they're in talks of being bought. Someone else made an offer recently, and I feel like it is an American company. And if it does become American owned, then obviously they'll go back on the ban thing. And I never really cared much about this. The only reason I care now is because TikTok put $200 billion into paying their content creators. So now that I know that there's a possibility of making money off of TikTok, I care about it. And then the last little bit of gaming news, which I'm excited for, is that we're having another huge update next week for No Man's Sky, No Man's Sky Origins. And like the past 3 or 4 updates that No Man's Sky has done has just been fantastic. Like the game is vastly different from when it originally came out and disappointed people. But yeah, we got a big update coming out next week. Doesn't seem like they've spoken much about it. But yeah, they said that their first major update was about 4 years ago. So it's been 4 years of constant updates, and it's looking good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they've updated. The last thing they added was like the living ship, and the living ship's like these cool like organism kind of ships that you get to pilot. Looked sick. I can't wait to see other stuff. But yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Before we go, what have you been playing?
I took a break this week. I went to go visit my folks.
Oh, cool.
So I took a break. I took my PlayStation with me, so I just played some Fortnite and Fall Guys for the week. But I'm actually going to be trying out, probably right after this, I'm going to be trying out the open beta for Cold War. Because I believe that you can download
that's right.
it.
That's right.
I believe you can download it right now, yeah. So
Yep.
I'm 100% going to be trying that out. And then I'm looking forward to getting back into Valorant because, man, I'm so hooked to Valorant. Like, I know I always talk about it, but I'm just so happy that I finally found like a competitive game that resonates with me. You know what I mean? Like I've always enjoyed Dota and other games, like other MOBAs and strategy games, but they never really resonated with me. There's never an FPS game that resonated. Like Fortnite, I love Fortnite, but I don't take it seriously. Like I joke around in that game. I played casually. This is the first game I've ever taken seriously, so I'm very happy to be playing Valorant. and it's getting good updates all the time. We're getting a new map pretty soon. Yeah, no, but yeah, for the most part, I've just been playing Fall Guys, and dude, that game is so rage-inducing. I don't know why I keep playing it because it's funny because
You and Dorian both.
dude, it's funny because I find it good for my anxiety because there's not like it's not like a big thinking thing. Like Fall Guys is like Family Guy for TV shows. You know, when you just want to put something on where you don't have to really focus much. That's what like Fall Guys is for me. So I play it all the time for that reason to just distract me from anxiety or whatever. And then I get so angry, but it's like in that anger I forget about whatever mental health issues I was struggling with. I'm just like, I just want to break things. I'm surprised I haven't smashed my controller yet, to be completely honest.
Oh man, I'm kind of glad when I signed up for PS Plus, like the Fall Guys thing had already passed, where you could download it for free. I've just been playing God of War. I'm just trying to wrap that up. I hopefully should be done by the next time we do a podcast because I think I only have like 3 missions left. So, and I have a great time with it.
Do you have Xbox Game Pass?
No, I don't.
Okay, now I'm trying to get Dorian to download Sea of Thieves because Sea of Thieves. Now that I go Xbox Game Pass or PC, Sea of Thieves has become one of my favorite games. Very quickly, very easily, just because it's kind of silly and it's fun. You know, I'm loving Sea of Thieves as well.
I heard it's one of those games where at first, like kind of like Destiny, where like it kind of launched like half baked, but then later they like filled it out, and now it's a full on.
Yeah,
game.
like now I'd say now it feels more like a game than it ever was when I first saw, because there's at least like you got like the Megalodon, you got the Kraken, you got a couple like they've added a lot to the game where it's like you can just keep playing, you know. And I like the shenanigans in the game, meeting random players, like looting them or blowing up their ship or like all sorts. There's just it's a fun little game to waste some time in and just have some silly fun, you know.
Yeah. All right. You update your social handles yet?
No, and it's funny enough. I have a feeling I'm just gonna go straight back to the old ones.
All right.
So in that case, you guys can find me on Instagram at josh.toki, and you guys can find me on Twitch at josh_toki.
All right, cool. And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or Instagram dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. Also subscribe to our podcast feed. That's the Collider Factor feed for this, plus other reviews, interviews, and stuff. We just posted our Avengers spoilers review. So if you finished that game, check that out. And all kinds of good stuff. So until next time, we'll see you guys later.